Mine was quicker enough. Probably too long left.
Sunrise.
Yeah, to your house. Yeah, they went to my house. Yeah, I mean, well, I got to see their asses. They have both together, mom and the baby. Well, Tanya needed a ride over, so the guy came in. He had a flashlight, and so we went and said, let's go in your apartment and look at them from the window. And we went out to the patio. Yeah, so anyway, but it was pretty good. That doesn't happen in New York. Were we eating right? We were right. Yeah. Oh, these guys did the coolest thing for Tanya with the burger. And they used to. We heard him saying happy birthday without waiting for her. Yeah, and they set all this stuff up, and it was so nice. We're not cans anymore. Our guide. Like crocodile Dundee. Oh, yeah, I can see this is enough. Although he would be enjoying it. Yeah. Oh, you do. I know, I was going to apply to local academics. I'm not going, although I suspect Good morning.
Okay, copy, thank you. Yeah,
Is yours standing by?
yeah, Ron, can you handle channel 1 once he comes back from channel 1? There's yourself and this is one and another one coming in, and there's Jeff on first and then Chulani on second.
Okay, copy, friends on. Yeah, Flaming when I'm still static on Sangoma, just south Quality Junction. There's 2 and north, 1 on approach, 2 on standby. Alright folks, so these are all young lions, as you can see. It's not one big female here, one big male, it's all youngsters. So this is part of the Styx Pride. The Styx Pride is our main pride in this area. They then Washishaka, the male coalition of 4 males. This is their main pride, and this is all their youngsters as well. Some youngsters at different ages, so the one litter is about 13 months of age now, and the other litter is about 8 months of age. So they still got some growing to do before they reach independency, and before the males will start breaking away from the pride. But for now they're still hanging together, so the mothers probably went off hunting or went back to fetch some of the other youngsters. Altogether this pride's about 14 lions, 11 youngsters with 3 adult females. So at the moment there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 youngsters here. 9 youngsters here, so the 3 adult females and 2 youngsters are not with them at the moment. So it could possibly be that 2 of the other youngsters fell behind and the females went back to fetch them, and just said these youngsters must just wait here for them to return. Or that the 3 females went out hunting. The last time we saw all 11 youngsters was quite a while ago, so we're not 100% sure yet. We're not going to write the other 2 off yet, if they maybe passed away or not. But so far they have a 100% success rate, these mothers, of raising all these youngsters. one of these young males, I'm not sure if he's one of these ones here.
Yeah, they lick
Right.
more.
So one of these male, see this male that's licking himself now. The male off sitting straight up with his paw above his neck. That male is badly injured, he's probably licking that injury now. He was bitten by another lion. If he stands up, you'll see the bite marks on his spine. I'm not sure if he's gonna make it, he's looking quite bad, he's looking very skinny as well. So I'm not 100% sure if he is going to make it. I mean, nature is cruel out here, but they do heal themselves a lot of times. It's good that he can lick himself because they've got papillae on the tongue, which is a lot of small little claws, and that's also how they clean themselves. But as they lick themselves, those small papillae or those small claws catch up onto all the bacteria and parasites in that wound, so they clean themselves. So if it's just a flesh wound, it would heal itself. But if it is a spinal injury and that wound actually is more than just a flesh wound, then it might cause its death. It's good though that it's with the bride still. I mean, it still gets food. The mother still hunts, gets food for the youngsters, so he still does get food. But even though there will be carcasses brought to them, all these other youngsters is gonna push him out because they're stronger than him. He is getting weaker and weaker. In Fennec,
Probably they go by this one.
Different ages. I mean,
yeah, so that's one that some of them stood.
Yeah, go, Shovel.
Quite another nice herd of rhino. It's not the same four we saw the other day because those two youngsters were more or less the same size. So this is another group. Very nice seeing another big group of 4 rhinos together.
Oh, okay, copy. Yeah, on the deck now.
See on this back female, you can clearly see those notches cut into the ear. So each notch indicates a specific number. Usually on the inside, it's a 1, 4 and a 7, and then on the outside it's a 1, 20 and 30. So and then you count it together, and left and right ear is different numbers, so you count it together, and then at the end you get the specific number of that specific individual. It's very sad that someone is walking up to these animals and just shooting them, chopping off the horns. And when they cut into the skeleton, it's not just like, they don't cut it off like this, they cut it into the skeleton, so they chop half of the face off to get the whole horn, the maximum amount of it.
Lincoln for the pilot.
I mean, when we de-horn, as you can see, there's still a piece of horn left, so we use those 4 fingers, and then we cut it off above the nerve and above the grow ring, so that horn still grows back. We have to de-horn every 2nd to 3rd year. Depending on the nutrients of the area, that horn grows back 2 to 3 inches per year. So it's an ongoing process of de-horning and monitoring them, immobilizing them. And we also try not to immobilize them unnecessarily, and picking his head up, smelling. Try not to immobilize them too many times because, I mean, it's an unnatural drug. So if you're going to de-horn them, if you're going to immobilize them twice or 3 times a year, it's definitely going to start having an impact on them. But just once every 2nd, 3rd year, that's not going to have a major impact on them. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to hopefully save the species. Very thick skin, you can see on their backs all the scratch marks. Their skin is about almost 1 inch thick, so not as thick as elephant, for example, but almost double the thickness of buffalo skin.
Are they like elephants where they need so much food?
Yes, so they're also ungut fermenters, same as your elephants, one chamber stomach. Constantly need to feed. If you get some of their dung and you open it up, you'll see all grass blades in there and everything that hasn't been digested at all. So a very weak digestive system, constantly feeding throughout the day. At night they're going to be laying down sleeping somewhere, but on a full moon they'll even continue feeding throughout the night. So yeah, they constantly need to feed. Nice. Elephant bull walking past. So there's waterhole not too far west of here. So they're probably gonna spend their time now for the next couple of hours slowly grazing, moving towards that waterhole, go and drink water and then slowly move on grazing again. Olifante agter. Female. So they're feeding on, looks like she's feeding there on a buffalo thorn. And a buffalo thorn has got massive thorns on it, very sharp thorns. The thorns on it, it's almost like a zigzag all over the branch. And these elephants, the skin are just so thick on that trunk and in the mouth. I mean, they don't really have a lot of sensory glands in the mouth and on the tip of the trunk where the skin is supposed to be a little bit more sensitive. So they literally feed through those thorns, they just chew it and destroy it. Yeah, buffalo thorns got massive thorns. Mouth's open because it's very, very warm, so they're trying to get that body temperature regulated and cool that body temperature down. Something as small as a bird, I mean, their body temperatures increases sometimes, so trying to regulate it. The zebra is very brave, just standing there. Grand one. Looks like a mother with a youngster. No, see what. Alright folks, as you can see there are the horns. The horns have been taken off. I'm sure you know about the poaching situation that's going on in South Africa and how many rhinos we are losing. This is a white rhino, for instance, they're critically endangered. Black rhino is almost extinct. We lose about on average 600 rhino a year. The average number of rhinos is under 2,000, so we mobilize them, we bring in a helicopter, we drug them with a drug called N99, about 10,000 times stronger than morphine. They go down within 2 to 3 minutes. We send the ground team in immediately, positioning them correctly, otherwise they can die from a heart attack as well. Yeah, the body just stayed there. There's notches in the ears, that's also us cutting it in, and that indicates a specific number. So if we do have to lose a rhino, we'll know which individual it was, where it was dehorned, how big the horn was, what the DNA is of that animal, and if we find the horn, we can take DNA samples and trace it back to where it came from. If you go and drive in Kruger National Park itself, you will be extremely lucky if you see a rhino. I mean, you never really know.
How old would you estimate them?
So both are still quite young.
Okay.
They get much bigger. They get up to about 2,200, 2,800 kilograms. So it's almost 3 tons. So this one on the left, for instance, that's almost fully grown, but it's still going to grow for the rest of their lives. So probably around 10 years, maybe 12 around there. This one on the right is a little bit younger, 5 years around there. So this one's probably more or less half the age of the one on the left. 5 more or less on average, and about 10 to 12 years. That's just a rough estimate of more or less. When they're very young, it's easy to tell. A couple of months, a year to about 2-3 years, and then you start looking at
Starts
size.
to blend a little more.
But yeah, terrible eyesight. At this distance, they just see this big blur.
Really?
They can't see you specifically or individually. They just rely. I mean, you can see how small those eyes are in comparison to their head. They literally rely on their sense of hearing and smell. That's fantastic senses, but eyesight, not a good one. They have to be closer than about 12 meters more or less to actually see you and focus on you individually. And the mother started running towards them and they all jumped on each other, went back to the mother, jumped on each other. Very happy recently. But yeah, they're all grown now. So
How old do you think they are?
it's these ones, that one group of them, it's two different litters, so you'll see they're different sizes. One litter is 8 months now, and the other litter is 13 months old now. Let's go back that side. Then I'll see, I think you'll see it from the front. On his back, about 30 centimeters to the right of his tail, you'll see that bite mark. Otherwise, if he stands up while I move forward a little bit more, you'll see it. But yeah, this male's got bitten by another lion. Most likely, could be a hyena as well, but most likely another lion. They maybe got into a fight with another pride. I mean, these youngsters are not fighting mature yet. They're not mature in any way yet. So they do. If you go to any fence-off reserve, they do have wildlife vets and state vets that will treat the animals. Doesn't matter what it was, if it was an injury. But out here, because we're 4.8 million hectares open system, we let nature takes its course, and natural selection does play a role in that. Survival of the fittest.
Wonder what they heard that perked them up.
And I heard about you talking about the gut.
So yeah, these are all youngsters. Not one of them is even close to fully grown yet. The mother's not here. Not one of it's 3 mothers with 11 cubs. The whole pride is 14 individuals. And if the males are with them, it's 18. It's a group of... You see the injury on this one's back? He's walking to the far right. So something definitely had drawn their attention now. Either contact calling from the mother, or something.
Yeah, I think his mom is...
So most likely then the mother calling, that's the only reason they'll react that quickly, like these ones coming over here.
How did they hear that?
Yeah, it's amazing. Contact calling is crazy. It's something you'll never hear, but these lions got fantastic hearing.
Yeah, from the beginning, two, 3 of them getting the head off.
I know you get excited, don't worry.
And
she's short
now
too.
Yeah, exactly. Before that by the lions, but maximum in the wild 12 to 14. Captivity they'll get older, but unfortunately, no, not unfortunately, luckily this is not captivity. Amazing seeing so many lion faces coming towards you, eh?
No, never in a million years.
Yeah, Jeff, good one.
Yeah, run up on there for
Copy, comes and go Macquarie. Crossing Macquarie now.
It's hard because I want video, but I want to see. Yeah. I want to enjoy.
And the broken one, look at him.
Yeah, he's looking weak. The whole body swinging side to side.
Yes, look at that, it's trying.
He's trying to keep up, but eventually it's not going to work anymore, unfortunately. And I mean, there's always a possibility. Nature's incredible, nature's amazing. Sometimes it can heal, but you can see the bite marks there, that black dots on the bottom of the spine where he was bitten. See how he's licking himself. You can see that fur that's being flattened now, and he's losing the right ankle to look after himself. But if she was with him, definitely she would still clean him. And if it was a flesh wound, it would almost be no problem. It will heal soon, and he wouldn't be so weak. Because even though it would still hurt him, it wouldn't be like an injury where his leg isn't working properly.
Look at this. Just hanging out back
Yeah,
here.
see, both legs are turning. Lions like this are a while they're already not old enough to probably hurt you very badly. about 2 years ago, it was in COVID in Marataba. Marataba is in the northwest. Young males like this size, more or less, about 12 months old, so a month younger than these ones. They were tracking them, and the one day it wasn't busy, so one of the guides went out by himself. A guide went out by himself to scout for animals while there was a game drive going on. And he stopped in this open area, and he got out. He didn't have a rifle with him, and he stopped and he got out and walked on the tracks. And then about 10 minutes later, they tried to call him on the radio. Nothing happened. He didn't answer. And one of the other guides drove in, and they saw the vehicle standing, and they radioed in, yeah, we see the vehicle. He's not on the vehicle. He probably walked in. And then they just drove past the vehicle, and they saw in the open area about 30 meters from the vehicle there was 2 lions feeding on something. And they called it in, and that head guide just said, raise there immediately. They guess on his vehicle everything, but they thought they still could be time, and they said raise down there immediately, go to those lions, see what he's eating. Drove in with the guide. They jumped on the guide, killed him, and then afterwards they saw the tracks. The guide got out the driving door and he walked this side, and the lions came from out of a tree line from the other side of the vehicle, and they walked straight to the vehicle, so he couldn't see him. And then they were lying down next to the vehicle, and probably on his way back, this guy walked a circle on his way back. They just came around the vehicle and smashed him and ate him. So these guys are already old and confident enough to, I mean, us as humans, we are a weak species in nature, so they're already big and strong enough.
Yeah, don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, no.
they're looking at us now.
Definitely not. They're probably like,
Especially thinking this little skinny guy needs a meal.
Yeah. So nice of them to close.
Yeah, that's
fisherman child.
yeah, that soft speaking sound. It's the rhinos communicating with each other.
Is it ever?
Yeah,
Are they talking shit about us?
could be. This one off, he doesn't But just quickly sit still for just a couple of seconds. We're just listening.
I think quicker than I would have thought.
So they run about 40-45 kilometers per hour, so about 20 kilometers per hour faster than Usain Bolt. So yeah, now they can move. For a big bodied animal like that, they move. Oh yeah, this is perfect habitat for white rhinos. White rhinos, they are the grazers. They feed on grass, so they prefer open areas. Black rhino, for instance, again, they browsers, so they feed on branches and leaves. So they prefer very thick areas, drainage lines, totally different than this. But this is perfect habitat for white rhino. The young male at the back here, and then a big female behind us now, that's coming to the other side of the vehicle. And then the other one, the younger one, I'm not sure, I haven't seen yet.